The next biomolecule we are going to talk about is lipid. Okay, let's get started. So let's look at the lipid. Lipid, there's three kind of lipids we're going to talk about. Triglyceride, phospholipid, and steroid. Each one is important. So you need to know these three. So first one, lipid. Okay, lipid, fats. Fat or oil, they're one kind of lipid. They are made of glycerol. This is glycerol and fatty acid. Fatty acid has a long tail with a lot of carbon. So together it's triglyceride. It's a glycerol with three fatty acid tail. That's triglyceride. That's fat. That's fat. And these fatty acid, they have long tail. If they are all single bond, you can see one dashed line. That's the single covalent bond. It's called saturated fat. And actually, their structure is not like the previous slides. It's a direct line. It's actually 3D structure. So when you have all saturated fat, and then you have three of them, right? Triglyceride, that's another one, a third one, and their structure are all the same. So they can get together pretty well, pack together. When they pack together, so at room temperature, usually they are solid. They're solid. So saturated fat, like usually animal fat, at room temperature, usually they are solid. If you like to eat steak, you know it's really a pain in the back when you try to clean the dish after the steak, after you finish the steak, because those oil just turn into solid. It's very difficult to clean it. That's the saturated fat. And once those fatty acids, once you have a double bond, every time you have double bond, it's cricket. And you can have a double bond here, and the next fatty acid, a double bond is not here, it's in a different place. So they become cricket. And when you put three together, you find they could not stay together pretty well. They're separated. When they're separated in room temperature, they're usually liquid. So this is called unsaturated fat. So when you start to have a double bond, you can have one, you can have a two or more. And once you start to have a double bond, it's unsaturated fat. So unsaturated fat, usually in room temperature, they are liquid. They are liquid. So that's how you identify the saturated, unsaturated. So these are triglyceride. Triglyceride, three fatty acid tail. And you know this is unsaturated because you see a double bond, right? And you see the structure become cricket. They don't stay together well. So in room temperature, usually unsaturated fat is liquid, and saturated fat usually is solid because they stay together pretty well. So saturated, unsaturated. This is unsaturated. And another term called the cis and the trans fat. So let's look at this too. What's cis fat? What's the trans fat? So the trans fat, cis and trans, they come from organic chemistry. So the difference is this structure. This structure. We won't go into organic chemistry. So I just show you that when this turn 180 degrees, like a flip over, when you turn 180 degree, and suddenly the trans turn into cis. And you know the protein, their 3D structure decide everything. When I turn into from the cis turn into trans, and suddenly the bacteria won't be able to recognize it. And when the bacteria won't be able to recognize it, they won't be able to digest it. So the food prepared with the trans fat lasts 3 times longer compared with cis fat. And say if you own a food industry, which kind of oil you want to use? Of course, it's the one lasts for much longer because when you prepare the food, the expiration date, they can put them much long. So all those, you find all those processed food, they start to use trans fat. But in the past 30 years, they find those trans fat give us a lot of problem. They give us cardiovascular disease. Apparently, this kind of fat, not bacteria don't like them. Also, our cardiovascular system don't like them. This trans fat will stay in the blood vessel, and they will start to block the blood vessel. And it's like the pipe being 50% blocked. You will learn that in AP2. And when your pipe being blocked, the blood vessel being blocked, your pump, that's your heart, have to work harder to push the blood through those 50% blocked blood vessel. So it increases the work of the heart. So if your blood vessel being blocked, and it increases the work of the cardiovascular system, pushes the heart. And then it increases the chance you have heart failure. And also when the blood vessel being 100% blocked, and the downstream of the cells, they could not get the oxygen from the blood, and then they start to die. If it happens in the brain, that's ischemic stroke. If it happens in the heart, that's heart attack. So heart attack and ischemic stroke, they're pretty much the same thing. They just happen in different places. They're all cardiovascular disease. So the trans fat start to give us a lot of problem. Okay, and about this FYI, I won't tell you. This person, his fat saved his life. He's been stabbed 38 times. He's supposed to die because every time the knife go in, it will damage your inner organ, so you have inner bleeding. But this guy has a lot of fat. This kind of fat called visceral fat. They're the fat accumulate between organ. Their function is to reduce the friction between organ and organ. So usually when you get older, you start to have a big belly. That's the visceral fat. And also animal, when you see old animal, they actually start to have fat as this. And this person, his fat saved his life because he's been stabbed 38 times. And every time the knife move in, the organ just shy away and the fat take the hit. So it turned out he has no inner organ damage. His doctor just suture him and he can go home. So he's saved by his fat. Okay, another kind of lipid is called phospholipid. We will talk more about this when we talk about the cell membrane. It's a very important lipid because cell membrane is the main building block is phospholipid. So if I ask you, okay, what kind of lipid is used to build the cell membrane? The answer is phospholipid. And phospholipid has one head, two tail. Okay, let's look at another slice. This one head, two tail. The head is actually hydrophilic, means like water. These two tails are very typical fatty acids. They don't like water. Fatty acids don't like water. So they have the head like water. Two tails don't like water. And they use it to build the cell membrane. You know the cell ECF, right? Intracellular fluid is water. ECF outside, ICF intracellular fluid is water. So inside, outside is all water. You have the head like water, these two tails don't like water. So how to deal with it? They turn out they use a double membrane, double lipid, and they make the tail hidden inside and the head facing out. So when we talk about a cell membrane, we say the cell membrane is phospholipid bilayer. It's actually two layers. So they make the head facing out, hydrophilic head, and two hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means they don't like water, tail hidden inside. Okay, the third lipid we're going to talk about is steroid. Steroid it's a very important lipid in your body because it's used to make sex hormone. So they come from cholesterol. Before you take this class, you think cholesterol is bad, give you cardiovascular disease. It's just one function. But it turned out your body have cholesterol as well because the testosterone, that's the sex hormone. You find the four ring structure. I told my student, recognize the four ring. These four ring won't change. They just change a little bit of the functional group, but these four rings remain the same. So they just take those four rings and modified one of those functional group a little bit, and turn out you can create testosterone from cholesterol, create testosterone. Just change a little bit, and that's testosterone. Don't worry about those detailed structure. I just ask you to recognize those four rings. And the male sex hormones, testosterone, female one, estrogen, they are actually very similar. So we use them to produce the sex hormone. And lipid, like lipid, cell membrane, we just talked about it, right? Lipid, cell membrane is made of phospholipid. And then cholesterol is another lipid. And sex hormone is made of cholesterol. So the birth control pill and also birth control patch, you find you don't have to eat pill. You can put the patch on the skin. Why the patch work? Because inside the patch and also in the pill is a high dosage of female sex hormone. This high dosage of female sex hormone for your body, make your body think you're pregnant. And when you're pregnant, you won't ovulate because to have a baby, you need a egg and sperm and the uterus. And when the uterus is taken, it makes no sense to ovulate because there's no space for the embryo to grow. So when you're pregnant, you actually won't ovulate. And the birth control patch and birth control pill, both of them work because it's high dosage of female sex hormone. So it fool your body, make you think you're pregnant. And how come you can use the patch? The high dosage of female sex hormone can still go into your body. The reason is the sex hormone, they are made of cholesterol. It's a lipid. And the cell membrane is made of phospholipid, mainly phospholipid. That's another lipid. So lipid like lipid means it has no problem, just goes through the cell membrane. The next lecture, we'll talk about the transport, simple diffusion. It goes through the cell membrane, just diffuse from the high concentration area to the low concentration area. So it will diffuse through the cell membrane and from the patch and through the skin cell membrane go into your body. And that's why you can eat the pill or you can use the patch, and the high dosage of female sex hormone can go into your body. So today we talk about three very important lipids. We start with triglyceride, and we talk about phospholipid, and then the steroid. So all three of them have very important function in the human's body. Okay, let's stop here.